There was a glimmer of hope early this morning in the search for Titan, the submersible that went missing while diving to the Titanic wreck. Canadian searchers reported underwater noises in the search area. They heard a banging sound, but time to rescue the crew is running out. Here at Now's Heather Gillis has been following this story all week, and she joins us now live with more. So Heather, what's the latest?
Well, Carolyn, it's estimated there's about less than 24 hours of oxygen left on Titan, that submersible that is missing somewhere in the vast Atlantic Ocean. And Canadian P3 searchers today heard that banging underwater, but they have yet to determine exactly what is causing it, where exactly it could be, yet still no sign of the submersible. At about 2 this morning, the U.S. Coast Guard tweeted that a Canadian P3 aircraft detected underwater noises in the Titan search area. Crews kept searching for the source. They haven't found it, but they're not giving up on Titan or its crew.
When you're in the middle of a search and rescue case, you always have hope. That's why we're doing what we do. With respect to the noises specifically, we don't know what they are, to be frank with you.
Human sounds, nature sounds, and it's very difficult to discern what the source of those noises are at times.
Canada has shared that underwater noise data with the U.S. Navy, and the Coast Guard says their experts will do more analysis. OceanGate, the company that owns the submersible, isn't giving any further information on those underwater sounds. 3 more ships arrived on the scene this morning. The Canadian Coast Guard ship John Cabot, which has side-scanning sonar, the Scandi Vinland and Atlantic Merlin, as the search seems to concentrate on this grid offshore. It's an international search with a French research vessel en route carrying a state-of-the-art ROV that can go deep in the ocean. An area twice the size of Connecticut has been searched, as far down as 2.5 miles, a massive 3D area that's challenging and remote. Meanwhile, the St. John's Airport is buzzing with activity from cranes to 747 planes as more equipment and people arrive to help. Still, concerns are mounting about Titan and safety. Will Conan of the Marine Technology Society says the sub doesn't have any certification or regulatory approvals.
In 2018, at our yearly conference, many people and many members did bring up their concern on the direction that OceanGate was taking.
In a blog post online, the company said its work is innovated, but that the sub does have safety equipment like real-time hull monitoring. Cohen says the sub couldn't operate in U.S. or Canadian waters without certification, but it's a different story in international waters near the Titanic. He says there's no law requiring submersibles to be certified.
At the moment, there are 10 submarines in the world that can go 4,000 meters or deeper, and all of them are certified except the OceanGate.
The Marine Institute has a summer student employed with OceanGate and on Titan's support vessel, the Polar Prince. The school provided storage and workspace, but they're not doing interviews to explain the partnership, nor is it explaining how or if OceanGate was vetted. Meanwhile, time is running out for the crew that is on Titan as it is expected. Like I said earlier, there is less than 24 hours of oxygen and life support left in the vessel. Now, the U.S. Coast Guard did say there were some limited rations on board as well. And there is a little bit more clarity about the timeline of what happened with Titan. I understand from the U.S. Coast Guard as well that it was launched on Sunday morning, and that would have been around 9:30 Newfoundland time. It was expected to rise back to the surface around 4:30 Newfoundland time, but as we know, it did go missing an hour and 45 minutes into its journey and was reported missing about 7 o'clock local time just after that. There is the possibility that there is enough air left in the tiny sub to last until tomorrow morning, but again, like we have been saying, time is running out. Searchers, though, not giving up, calling this a search and rescue mission. They still say that there is hope and that the search will continue.
Thanks so much, Heather. That's Here Now's Heather Gillis reporting live. Well, Horizon Maritime held a news conference late this afternoon. That's the local company that, in partnership with Mi'kmaq First Nation, owns the Titan support vessel, the Polar Prince. The company says its thoughts are with the crew of the missing sub. It also says all protocols were followed when Titan went missing. The Polar Prince is still at sea supporting the search along with 17 crew. Here's company co-founder Sean Leet talking about the mobilization of search and rescue equipment.
Late last night, the Arctic crew loaded a U.S. ROV, which, thanks to the U.S. military, arrived by air to St. John's Airport late yesterday. The vessel departed the Port of St. John's at 5 a.m. this morning and will arrive at the Titanic site tomorrow morning. We are very aware of the time sensitivity around this mission. Our crews and onshore team are experts in their fields and will continue to support this effort in every way we can. We remain focused on contributing to the search for the Titan crew and continue to hold out hope that they will be located and brought home safely.
St. John's has really become the search and rescue hub, with resources coming into the city from all around the world. Last night, crews on the harbor front were busy loading equipment and specialized gear onto ships heading out to join the search. And all that activity has been drawing a crowd to the downtown. And speaking of crowds, with people around the world watching the search for the submersible, international media have descended onto St. John's to keep their audiences updated. Nearly a dozen reporters have set up shop at Harborside Park for live hits, including Heather Gillis, who we just saw there moments ago. And earlier today in Ottawa, the minister who oversees the Coast Guard gave an update on the search.
Still working very focusedly to find the submersible. The John Cabot, the Coast Guard ship with the advanced deep sonar, is on site now, and so we just have to remain optimistic. Keep working until we find the submersible. And again, I am very mindful of just how stressful and worrisome this is for the families and of course the submersible team, the explorer team. Well, I don't have information about the cost, but from my perspective at this point that is irrelevant. We are going to do everything that we can, which is why so many assets, 3 Coast Guard ships, naval assets, air, we need to do everything we can, and we are in partnership with the leads on this, which is the U.S. Coast Guard. We're going to keep working on it, and that's what matters, is that we have a chance to find this submersible and bring people to the surface.